This time on Custom Works, we're going from this to this. Okay then, so here needs a wheel spat, and I've decided I'm going to make the whole bottom bit in a wheel spat, and it's one piece, it'll all come off, and it's not just like a normal sort of little spat, it's going to be the whole thing. It's going to be like finished in a different colour to the rest of the car, different finish. It's going to be awesome. But first off, I've got to mark out where it's going to be. So with the power of a pen, I shall try and sketch on a pleasing shape for the wheel spat. I've marked that out, and I've marked it out, that's about where it's going to be. However, what I'm going to do is build, I'm going to snow plough and build a raised edge for the spat to sit in, and the way I'm going to make that raised edge is by gluing some dye bond on there. Now, what I will get with this is, I know I say this many times, but things like this will make a better shape than I've drawn. If I glue that from there, it will, just gravity and the curvature of the material will find the best line. So even if I'm not to this line, I'm not bothered. What I'm bothered about is it looking the best it can, not how accurately I can follow this line. Oh yeah, and also, the one thing to always think with these things is it should be bulbous at the front, peter off to the rear, just like a teardrop as it falls. So I've sort of got a bit of that going on. But anyway, I'm sure the material will show me the way. Let's get some glue, get that glued on. Right, so already I can see that I've made a howling mistake. I've come up here, but I really need to be this low down here so I can get a good sweep up there. So already my markings have come to nothing really. What I'll do is I'll stick that on, and like I say, this will usually show me the shape it's got to be better than my actual marks. Okay then, so I've got that on, I'm quite happy with the line. Obviously there's going to be a lot of filler and fiberglass, so you know, things can change. But that is looking quite nice. So all of this has been sanded with a grinder, and all of this. So now what I can do is get a decent fillet in there with some fibre reinforced filler, and start making this a little bit more solid. What I'll probably do is get the fibre filler on, and then start looking at making the actual spat to fit in here before I go too much further. Right, and so after, I've got to say, a few sort of changes of mind on that. I've made the front a little bit of a harder sort of curve to it, then trailing off to the back, and it's all looking pretty good. And it's just super glued on. Now, as I always say, you can't just make a car super glued on. What you got to do, you got to make it a lot stronger. So first off, I'm going to put a fillet over all of that. I'm using the U-pole one at the moment, very nice. And that will make it a lot more sort of secure, a lot more solid. Now I can look at actually making the bit that fits in it and see what we're going to do with that. Got my bit round there, and I've cut this piece that fits nicely in there, and just at the bottom, just to make it a bit more rigid, I've gone 3-ply sort of thickness in some of the strips of dye bond. So I put that on, and now what I'm thinking about is I've got to make this a lot more rigid, so I need it to have some sort of shape to it. So I'm just clamping these bits of plastic around here. And what I'll do then is mark this, and I can bond those to there, and then once that's fiberglassed, it will make this panel a lot more rigid. And because of how I'm doing it, by clamping it like this, it will fit perfectly into this gap. We've got the wheel spat on the back. Now, up to now, this fits in here very nicely. This little raised edge has gone good. So if we look, this bit is sticking over this bit. It's because there's obviously a curve to this, curve to this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to grind that back so it's flush with this, and then that is a pretty darn good fit. What I also might do here, this is the only time I'm ever going to say this car is too low. I think I need to cut sort of like 20 mil off the bottom here, because the car's at full drop at the minute. I would like for it to be able to drive at full drop, even though it will have no suspension on full drop, but just so it doesn't actually touch the floor, because, hey, you know, at a show, you can always park it in the long grass, can't you? Oh, yeah. Right, let's get those bits done. So I've got that in, I know the spat fits underneath it, so it's time to make this flange a little bit more secure. So, right now, it's fiberglass time! So I've fiberglassed over all of this. I'm just rolling it down to get it all really, really neat and tidy. And then, for now, that is pretty much it on this. I'll put it over there, make sure it fits, and then it's time for Bondo, smooth all of this out, and then it's going to look great. Right, so now let's have a look at how we made those rear wings. Doing these wings on the back of the 60s truck. Now, I want to go with the double bunny ear thing like the golden Sahara. Of course that's a car, and this is a pickup, so they're going to be exactly the same. So I'm not making a copy, it's more homage, but let's never let it become parody. And I think I've got the level right, and what I'm about to do, I think this one is right. This piece of copper tubing. As I move that, or as I move this one keeps moving. So I'm going to make this solid. I'm going to make the profile shape, and then I will sort of line and adjust this one up to it to give me that double fin look. Looking at it now, as far as a shape to create, this is slightly more complex than I thought it was, but of course the legend George Baris built the original one, so I am just me here with 2 lengths of copper tube and a load of dye bond trying to replicate the same thing. But I'm going to get this so it's solid, start making some sides up here, and then, like I say, I'll adjust that in. And you might be thinking, why am I using copper pipe? Well, for a lot less money I could have bought steel, and steel would have done the same job, but steel will rust inside, and it will ruin the final thing. So copper all the way, trying to keep everything nice and non-ferrous, and then hopefully this will last forever. Right, so I'm going to put like a gentle curve in this as the front of the wing, like the side of the wing. I've tried to put it in the vise and it just sort of creases it a bit. And of course, I don't want to fill this too much filler anyway. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a former out of my vise. So first off, I'm going to weld this bar in to bend the stuff around. See, my welder there has been turned down. I prefer it to be at 11. And what I've done there, of course this isn't going to be a permanent thing, I've just put some heavy tacks in. So, that's that. I'm going to weld this piece of box section in here. And now, hopefully, I'll be able to just bend that around there. I do lose my vise for a couple of days, but I have other vices. Right, before I bend this, I'm going to offer it up to the car, make some marks on it, so I just know where I need these bends to be. So here, I'm seeing that the bends will be sort of tighter, going to less tight at the back. So this part will be considerably more bent than that. Right, so I've got here this piece of bent dye bond sat on air up to that piece of copper pipe. Now, about just here is exactly what I want. Here's not so good there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to fiberglass this piece, and I'm going to fiberglass just this bit, just with the sort of like P40, you know, mix it up, fiberglass filler. I'm going to get that, and I'm just going to make that so it's a little bit stable, because at the minute I reckon I could blow this over. It is so weak. So I'll get that like that. And don't forget, if you're new to this channel, I'll be fiberglassing over all of this. So it will be super strong, and because it's only made of plastic, aluminium, copper and fiberglass, it will never rust, it will last forever. And this is pretty good and looking pretty strong now. And I bent this other bit of dye bond to go in there. And now it is starting to get a little bit of sort of strength about it. Like I probably could have just blow it off now, which I don't think I can say anymore. But once that is all glued in, that should be pretty good. And then I can start working out where my second wing's going to go and working out where that Golden Sahara double wing thing, how that's all going to work. At the minute, I'm not dead sure. This bit, looking pretty good, nice and level. I have brought it out so it's like a curve to the back there. It's hard to see at the moment, but there is a curve coming back now. And this is a little bit wider than it was. And now I need to know how the back of this wing is going to end. And I want that in now, just so I don't work, you know, just keep making wing for miles. I want to know where it ends. It's there, essentially. That's it. There's a sweep, certainly the top sweep. I might sweep the bottom out, I don't know yet. But definitely the top sweep is there. So what I'll do now is bond this on, fill this bit, and we're a lot closer to seeing the sort of final shape of the truck. Here we have it, the back wing of the truck with some wings on it. Now, this is all together, pretty solid, a lot of fiberglass bondo on it. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cover all of this down to the fiberglass panel that we've made. I'm going to glass all of this in over every single joint. And we've even got a bit of the inner of the wing. Now this bit is, I'm not going to say it gave me sleepless nights, but working out how to make that, I thought, could I form it in the machine? Could I have it rolled or formed? And you know, in the end, I've just gone for it with some super thin aluminium. I've managed to bend that on my bender that I made on the vise. And it's come up good. Obviously I'm going to cover it all in fiberglass because there are joins and stuff, and I want this to be done, do it once, do it right, forget it. So I'm going to cover all of this in fiberglass. Okay, so the other week I was a bit worried about this intersection between here and coming down between the cab. But as you can see, I have glassed over this bit, but what I did, I ground back the expanding foam and I ran up it with the grinder. And this dimension here is just the grinding disc as it goes up there. Now, what this gives me is that as I'm filling this, I'll be able to sand it with the grinder because it's this radius and it makes it loads easier. And it's well worth remembering that is, if you're doing like a snowplow effect, like it's going to go on here, if you move that along, it gives you that snowplow shape. And of course, it's an angle grinder with a sanding disc, sanding bondo, so it always works super fast. I've got to say, it is looking so cool, like so cool. It looks so Golden Sahara, the shape's so nice. I'm over the moon with it. And with the fender skirt on there, This is pure 60s show car. I can't imagine how good this is going to look going down the street. I know for one thing, if I saw this car coming down the street, I would probably let a little bit of wee go. Things have moved on. We've done quite a bit more. Kirst made up another running board, and that running board is now affixed to the truck. And I think from this you can see, this truck is like, I'm going to say it's low. This is really low. About 12 mil off the floor. And it will drive at this. And because of spending a little bit of extra time doing those front airbags, we can also get full lock on the suspension at this drop without rubbing any arches. So I wouldn't go very fast, but this is definitely, it would drive at this. So we've got that on. Done a bit of filling on the door. The door is now solid and glass. What I've done here, I bought a piece of dye bond around here and put this swirl in the end because we moulded the rear fender to the back of the cab. There was no real sort of cut-off point. So we have gap under the door like we would have had on the original truck, but this bit is filled in. So we had this side of the wing sort of together yesterday, but now it is glassed and it is really, really starting to get some serious strength to it. And it looks just fantastic. Inside we've started to put the, I don't even know what this bit is. No cars have double wings. The wing valley, is that what it's called? The wing valley? Anyway, we put the wing valley in and that's looking pretty cool. And we've started sort of piecing together the parts that will make the rear of the wing, but there's just a lot of raw foam and stuff there at the minute. So then, this swage line, which is all nice here and all nice here out of the mould, but then I've cut it and put like, I don't know, like 500 mil in to stretch it. So what I need to do now is replace this line, and that can be quite difficult unless you have knowledge of a mediocre tip. So get ready everyone. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put this here, I'm going to screw it to there and there, and this will give me not only the straight line here, but it will give me the correct amount of curve to put back into this. So let's do that now, I suppose. Let's go. Okay then, so first I've got my piece of plastic, I'm going to spray some WD-40 on it. I'm going to grease it up. So then, that's it, greased it up. And you don't need much of this, like once there's some WD-40 on it, nothing will stick to it. So I've done that. I'm now going to wipe my hands so I'm not all greasy, and we're going to screw that on there. The reason I grease this is because I want to fill up to it and I don't want the filler to stick. So, now what I need to do is fix this where it needs to be. So I'm just going from the last good bit of the old trim, swage, sorry. So I'm going from there, I'm going to come to here, and there's pretty good bit of swage line there. Now at this point, I can move this plastic and bring this in and out. I think I'm going to have to reattach that end, but if I go there where it's touching, and there we have it. What I'm going to do now is backfill along here with some fiberglass filler, and then we'll have the start of our new shape and our new nice crisp sort of swage line down that wing. Back to the rear fender then. So what I've done, I packed plenty of this fiberglass filler underneath it. I put it down the back. So when I take this off, what I'm hoping for is like a clean bit that's like that. got this curve, it's got that curve, and it's all nice. So let's undo some screws, see how it looks. Oh yes. And there we have it. You see, in there is my top line now. And there is my sort of outer line to give me that curve. With a bit of sanding and shaping, that will give me my perfect shape for that line in the bodywork. Right, and so I've got to fit this fender skirt on the back of the car, massive hole, but I need a nice gap round it. I don't want to be messing around for ages, so what I'm going to use is some of this like thick double-sided tape stuff, which is so smooth there and sticky there, and that's going to give us our gap when we bond it in. So I'm going to put this round, and then we'll bond it into the car. This is going to fit in there, but we want this gap to be nice, so got the slippy tape on there. I'm just going to put loads of filler under this flange, and then I'll pack it up to it, let it dry. Once it's dry, boom, pop it off, and we will have the perfect panel gap, I hope. Okay then, so I've let that dry for a while. This has all gone off, so now all there is to do is remove these parts, take these few fixing screws out, and then hopefully just break this free. So then, now that I've removed the tape, I've got quite a bit of filler on here and stuff. So what I'll do is sand this off, and then I'll just clean that up, and then we should have the perfect panel gap. And that is it, there we go. So, still needs some tidying up. That panel gap is pretty damn good. And, you know, that's took all of like 10 minutes. What, you know, what you could do is just keep sanding and stuff, but it takes a lot of time. But I think this has come out really well, and another victory. Oh yes. So then, as you can see, I've sort of finished this bit, or certainly up to like a rough Bondo level. What I did here is I bent a small piece of dye bond around here. Again, like I always do, you know, let the curve of the material make the shape, and that made that shape. And then what I've done is just glassed and filled over it. But that's given us this curve here. And also now we've got this curve that fits into here, and we know where this is going. A lot of different stuff's going to happen in the lower section, but certainly all of this, that is how it came together. Okay then, so that is it for another week. Next time we're going to be showing you how we can get the bike onto the back of the truck. All of that metalwork, all of that fabrication, let's hope it all comes together, and all those rams and electronics and remote control. Yeah, let's hope that all works. But we're going to show you how that gets on the back. So tune in for that. Until then, don't forget, click, subscribe, do the like button, messages below, all that sort of thing, and don't forget that bell icon as well. And that basically is it. Oh, except for, you know what, there's that t-shirt thing, isn't there? I think there's like a new icon now, you can just press and it takes you directly to it. And so look out for that as well. Okay then, just to be absolutely clear how to get to the Etsy store, you click on here, and then you're there. And you can buy either a t-shirt or a sticker. What I would do is buy the £3 sticker, then stick it on the £2 t-shirt. Money saving expert, that's me. Anyway, between now and next week, 7 days will elapse. The moon will rise, the sun will rise, and all of that sort of thing. The earth will turn, and soon it will be time for another episode. But until then, thank you very much, and good night.